of my home internet because between the phone and the home, it was costing me too much money. And I thought I'd be smart and save money by getting rid of the home internet that I only got when my ex moved in, and he promised he was going to pay for it all. He never did, never paid a cent for it. So I thought I don't need it. I'm wasting money. So I got rid of it recently, and now I'm kicking myself because it keeps dropping out. Right, those need to go with those other vintage fabrics I've got up there. Of course, I'm dropping bits. So this, I believe this has started a whole new video now. So it might be a bit odd. I'm just going to carry on from the one I was doing. So this might not make a lot of sense. And I apologise for that. So what I was doing was showing the needle books I've been working on. I did show some of my vintage handkerchief collection. And I've just been prattling on about all the bits and pieces that I've got. Not all of them, some of them. I've brought some out here to share. I think I've shared this. I bought this little bag at an op shop recently. There's one of my big hairs on it. It's hard to fit in the shop. It's on this stunning vintage damask, and it's got the, I think it's the willow pattern on it. The damask, it is. It's stunning. Someone's made it, and they've put this beautiful hexagon patch on it. Now, I would never choose this leopard print fabric, but it's just, it works. And then the gusset's this stunning floral with butterflies. And then on the other side is, look at this stunning big hexagon. And it's appliqued to another piece of that beautiful damask. It's got a drawstring at the top. So I bought this at an op shop a couple of months ago. I think it was $4. The drawstring is satin ribbon, but it's got these hexagons on the ends. It's just stunning, so beautifully made. And yeah, $4, goodness me. And that currently has my little woolly bits in it. I love those woolly. I should get more of them. Okay, so what am I up to? I need to pack some of these needle books away so we've got a bit of room again. And I will, once I finish this video, I will upload this one and the needlebook ones so you guys that haven't seen them can go back and have a look and potentially understand what I'm talking about. I'm not going to fit all these needlebooks into this bag. So, oh gee, these videos end up being so much longer than I originally intend them to be. I'll just go and do a quick little video and it goes for hours. So hopefully we don't drop out again. Oh crikey, so many needlebooks. Let me just try and get these out of the way, guys. I'm going to put that piece of linen with those needle books because it's been done for, don't know if I think I have shown this. This is a piece of vintage linen tea towel that came in a kit from Beck, and I've been very slowly stitching this vintage lace to it. All that coloured thread will come out, it's just holding it down while I stitch. Why is that folded like that? And potentially it will go something like this in one of my needle books. There'll be pockets. It was going to go into that blue Sanderson one, but I just don't know if I'm going to get it to fit in. I've got so much jammed into that poor needle book. Right. Here's my pouches over. These two little pouches currently go everywhere with me. With my sewing supplies in them. Another vintage bit that I've shown earlier. I've got to stay with that. Right, I did want to show, I don't think I've shown you this. The last time I went to the op shop, there's a lady, lovely lady there that tries to keep an eye out for things for me. And she came over and said, we got these Italian tea towels in from a deceased estate. She said, I've got to show you. Anyway, she brought these two out. There's a blue one and a yellow one. And she said, they don't want me to sell them, but if you want one, I can sell you one of them. So I said, oh, I'd love one, thank you. So she said, you pick which colour you want. So I picked the blue one, and it's monogrammed. They're only cotton, but I've never seen anything like it. $3 she charged me. So it's got this beautiful monogram on it. Of course, that's not my initials. That's my surname initial. I wonder if I can turn that into an R. Potentially I could unpick that and do an R there, couldn't I? Potentially. So it's a beautiful large, you know, the old large size tea towel. And then it's got this, I don't know how to get it in the shop. It's like a bookshelf. So there's books up here. It's not really a vase, like a decanter, I suppose. The books, and it's really textured, the way it's woven. It's all fully woven. There's a rose in there. There's a rose. No books. With paintbrushes in it. And then we've got a jug. I don't know, maybe a tureen or a casserole dish. And then it's odd items on a bookshelf. More books. Yeah, the text is amazing. Then we've got, I don't know, is that a fruit bowl? And then there's a duck. And that's sweet. And then over here, there's, oh, they're little drawers. I didn't realise they were drawers. I can see through the monitor now. There's a cloth there. And then a globe. And then, of course, down the bottom, the monogram with the pansies cross-stitched into it. So I thought that was absolutely stunning. And when she said, would you like one? I'll be, yes, please. So that will come with me when I move to my new home. I'll have to start another glory box type thing, I suppose. Then I've got all these bits and pieces that I've been collecting for needle books. Goodness gracious. Some of this is stuff I've had. Some of it's stuff my girlfriend saved for me. There's laces and linens and textiles and crochet. And I have shown some of it, I think, in the last video. Okay, I was going to show some of these. I got these pillow slips recently. They're machine embroidered, but these, got two of these, and I thought these would be great for needle books or big, you know, like quilt block books. They could be pages. And I want to do one of those too because I've discovered, who was it? Rachel, maybe? Rachel from Roxy's Creations. Someone I was watching their videos this week. They've got one and they use it to put the embroidery in their working on. I thought that's a great idea. I didn't think of that. So potentially these could go in a big quilt block book. Excuse me, I'm drinking the last of my coffee. I got this vintage tea towel recently and I've had to keep it because I've just fallen in love with it. Linen, vintage linen. It's got these stunning flowers on it. I got quite a few beautiful vintage tea towels recently, and I gave most of them, 90% of them, to my son, and he's got them all hanging in his workshop. They look amazing. They're all Australiana ones. I've got another one in here he wants with fairy penguins in it. So this is pure linen. Look how that's written. It's not in block. It's beautiful. Yes, that bastard misses my bin again. I'm going to chuck a needle for some reason. Actually, it's not this bin anyway, it's the recycle bin. And I pay extra for my recycle bin because I've got an extra large one. For some reason, like, there's a bugger keeps leaving it, so I've got to email them or call them, email them and say, you didn't pick up my bin, so they send it out later in the week. It's happened a couple of times now, and I don't know why, because it's up the front like it should be. It's right on the footpath. It's not overloaded. It doesn't have anything in it that shouldn't be in it. And for some reason, he just has decided he doesn't want to pick it up lately. So made in Ireland, Irish linen, stunning tablecloth. I love it. This is another one I acquired recently. This one is used, and I believe it's linen, but it's just striped. So I thought that would be great for needlebooks. I might even keep it to use the tea towel that I need because it's a lovely tea towel. I've collected vintage linen tea towels most of my life since before I left home for my glory box because I like using the linen to wipe up as opposed to the new fluffy cotton ones you get now because they leave fluff all over everything. So I've always preferred the linen. I think my grandmother got me onto those. I don't have a dishwasher, so I still dry by hand. Actually, I've been very lazy lately. Otherwise occupied and leave it out to dry, air dry. This is part of a, cut it up, vintage supper cloth that I've been using. This tail centre I've had for a while now. It's very unique. I just can't shift it, so I'm thinking I might keep it and use it in something. I really like that one. These are fairly new requisitions as well. They are pillow slips again, but imagine these in a book, in a needlebook or a quilt. Oh, I love them. I really struggle to find these applique pieces, so when I do, they usually stay in my collection. Isn't that stunning? I love that. I want to use that in something. So I've got two of those. Oh, I got so excited. You know how much she charged me for these? 50 cents each. 50 cents. That one's a bit more yellow than the other one. I have soaked them. Beautiful. And then I've got a piece of the tablecloth I bought a while ago, but I thought this would be stunning in a needlebook. Again, these are just, I've got so many other bits in my collection, but I thought I'd show you some of my favourites. This is another piece of that embroidery from the tablecloth I put in the orange and blue. I have moved some of those pieces on. I've kept two pieces. And then I've just got a bag full of other bits of linen that needed to be, they were damaged, so you know that this is either how I've got them or they've come really damaged. And so I've got that beautiful piece. I've actually used another piece of that on a bag I've started to make, a woolen bag. And then I've just got a heap of, I've come across a few of these recently. Not always a full set, but they're filet lace corners that would have gone inset into linen supper cloths or something. So this is a one-off. I didn't get a full set of that. I've had a couple more, but I don't know what I've done with them. Different designs. Here's another half of a vintage tablecloth I bought recently. I love these. So I'm not sure. Originally I bought this to line a bag with, but I think it's too good. It's stunning. So I want to use that in something. Here's another vintage tea towel I've fallen in love with. This one has been used. It's a bit worn. It's very soft. Another beautiful. It's the same brand. Look at that, Richardson's. I didn't realise that. Made in Ireland, but it's just so pretty. Look at that. So I wanted to keep that. That one will go in my keeper collection. Yeah, and then I've just got all these bits of reclaimed linens. This was given to me already chopped up, but I've already used some of this in a needle book that went to a new home. Lovely vintage linen. Someone, I think, had made a top out of that because when you looked at what had been cut out, it looked like the shape of a blouse or something. And yeah, then I've just got all these bits that I want to use in things. Beautiful, embroidered, reclaimed bits and pieces that can go in needle books. Like some of them are just stunning. That looks like it's got bloody coffee spilled on it. That'll have to be washed. Yeah, and that bit. This was the night that I mentioned on the last video. I'm dreadful. Nearly always have a cup of coffee with me when I'm working, and my dog walked past and wagged her tail and sent the coffee flying, spilled it on the brand new book I bought and on some of my linens. I can't blame her. I shouldn't have coffee on my work table. Here's another piece. Isn't that gorgeous? That's gone into that blue needle book. One of my earbuds keeps falling out, so I might just sit it on the table there. Another beautiful piece of reclaimed embroidery with, I think, the hyacinths. So that would look really good in one of those big quilt block books. That is going cold now, isn't that funny? Another piece of reclaimed embroidery on linen. This bit needs to go in that. This is the bits I used on that blue needle book, the Tilda one. So I need to put that with it. This sandwich tray cloth I absolutely love, but it's disintegrating. Look at this. Absolutely stunning. But I thought I'd repair it, but look at this corner. It might be a bit beyond me repair. I could potentially still do it. I might do that. I really like that one. I'll leave that out so I can work on it. Another piece of reclaimed linen. This is just half of it. Beautifully embroidered. It's got this lovely, this is a crocheted lace, hand crocheted. It's so fine. And look how wide it is. It's a stunning piece of crochet. I think I bought these from Nairi from memory. These strawberries, and they came like this. They just cut up bits. But I do like a nice little strawberry. I'd like to try and collect more strawberries, to be honest. Here's more of that cross stitch that I had in that other needle book. This was given to me recently. This is all I saw when it was given to me. It was just like this, and I thought it must have been a toaster cover, but I think it's actually for a hanger. Coat, you know, what are they bloody called? Coat hanger. Far out. And it's not finished. So this side we've got this beautiful embroidery. When we go over to the other side, we can see it's not finished. Anyway, I've got that lovely bit. This lovely bit of reclaimed embroidery. It's just a corner of a supper cloth with this horrible lace on it. There's a bloody truck. That's the greenhouse. I don't often have greenhouse because I try and compost. This one, I don't know if you can see, this one is so fine. It's just starting to sort of disintegrate as well. It's very worn, this one. Very well loved. I love those type. These ones were the same. I had a Duchess set of this, but they were so worn. This one's not too bad, this bit. I've got a really fine hand crochet lace on that again. Here's its bigger one. I'm sure there's holes in this. Yeah, lots of little holes in this one. And I think the lace is torn on this one. So lovely embroidery is worth saving. worked out to use them in anything yet. More reclaimed embroidery from a linen tablecloth. I have used one of these in that zipper pouch I'm doing. I put one of those in, another one of them. Again, these are just some of the bits I've got. I've got more stashed right there. These are the better of the bits, I think. Look at that. It's a bit torn in places, so I thought I might be able to use that in something. More of these flowers. This needs a wash. This is from Nairi. It was washed when it came to me. This is some of my coffee spillage. I'm blinking hopeless. So it was just a corner square, but the embroidery is exquisite on this. It's so fine. Let's see if I can. Isn't it beautiful? That flower is amazing. I'm just checking that chat's on again. It wasn't turned on, so you can chat now if you like. Oh, geez, another bit that's got coffee on it. I thought I'd sorted that all out. What a goose. Another bit of reclaimed embroidery again. This is just a corner. Oh, I need to put you out again, sorry. That would help, wouldn't it? Oh, more of these flowers. This is another. Look at that. Beautiful embroidery. Beautiful edge on this one. This would be a great edge to reclaim for a needle book. Oh, sorry, Gina. I didn't realise it was turned off. This is full of little, tiny little holes again. This is one Ashley sent me, actually. It's really fine. Obviously, it was well loved because it's got lots of tiny little holes in it, that one. Again, this is just a piece. It's been chopped up, but that can be used. I think I've actually got a piece of that I was going to put in one. It had all this rust stain on it, and it's interesting where the rust is. As soon as you wash it or soak it, that piece of fabric just disintegrates. I've got one with a horseshoe on it that was given to me that's absolutely stunning, and it had all rust down one end, so I soaked it and that just disintegrated, but I've kept it. I'm thinking of repairing it. This is another one. I collect Australiana as well. I love the Australiana linen. So I've got this little blue wren, but he's full of holes as well. He's got lots of little pinholes in him, or bigger holes. Look at that. Someone said recently that the moths get into them, but I'm fairly certain that moths won't touch linen. Moths only go for wool and silk, from my knowledge. I'll have to double check that. And this is another one I was going to sell, but I decided to keep it because it's just stunning and I want to put it in a needle book. So I'm a bit hopeless that way. So there we go. There's some little treasures I'm wanting to keep. I'm a bit. I've got to go through again. I was looking this morning at the piles of vintage fabrics I've got, and I think I might make up some packs to sell because I've got so many, and I've got to get rid of them. I was selling individual bits, but it's sort of slowed down. More bits of. This is in that paper bag. This is some bits my girlfriend gave me. This is a bit. The other part of this went into that zippered pouch I'm working on. My girlfriend gets these come into her shop and she can't sell them. They've already been cut up, so she saves all these bits for me. This is one. I thought that'd be nice, yeah. Needlebook. I'm out of shot, aren't I? Maybe if that might be a bit better. So I've got two of them. That was a Duchess set. So I've got two square ones and a rectangle one, or a larger square one. That might be good. I've only got one of these little rayon damask napkins, but I had pulled this recently to put in a needle book. It's quite pretty. I can't remember if I bought this or my girlfriend gave it to me, but it came like this. Isn't that interesting? It's a collar, but it's funny how it's been stapled down instead of in the. I think it was in bag like that. It's presented like that. I've never seen one done like that before. I don't know if that's how it was originally or someone's just whacked it on there. I don't know. I'd say they've whacked it on because it looks like that. Yeah, look at that. That tucks in there. Like that. There we go. Yeah, so it should have been like that. But anyway, I need to put all these in their correct boxes. This is a beautiful piece of collar. I've already used some of this and I've put some in a couple of kits and that's all I've got left. That's an incredible bit of lace that. I don't think I'm going to go through this bag. Look, I've got, there's that pile in this little paper bag and that's only half of it. This is interesting though. I showed this recently but it was all screwed in a ball. I had 2 of them and I've ironed it out and even though it's really sheer, I've got a feeling it's actually linen. It's lovely, and that's all hand crocheted around there, and that's all done by hand, that pulled thread work. So the other one that was in it, when I ironed it, it was off center. So where this pulled thread work done, it was really off center. So I've actually folded it in half. It's got to be here somewhere actually, and not folded in half. I sort of folded it like this to put in a needle book as a little pocket. That was what I did with the other one. There's all sorts of. Oh, that's the stuff I was trying to move on recently, so I think I'll keep that bit because that's a lovely fine embroidery that will go in something. I like that one too. I like the linen and crocheted lace bits. Yeah, more, I think I showed all these last time, bits from my girlfriend. Here's another one of those corner pieces I was talking about, filet lace that would have been inserted into a linen tablecloth. Yeah, all this now is stuff that my girlfriend gave me that she can't move on, can't sell it, so I end up with it and it's stunning. A lot of it's all damaged, most of it's damaged, but the pieces are just stunning. They're they're not all damaged, I suppose. When I clean them up, a lot of it, the stains come out and they're just exquisite. So there's that. That's got to go in that other needlebook. I remember what I was going to show you. This is going to get really boring, guys, but I wanted to show you some of the vintage fabrics I've collected to specifically make needle books with. I think I'll make needle books with, I don't know, I keep changing my mind. So I've got a piece of vintage Sanderson and it's selvage to selvage. It's linen, but it's been cut off. So all I've got is that. See where it's been cut off? But I reckon I could use that to make a needle book. It might even be big enough to do a one of those. Look at that. I don't know if it's a misprint or a colour test. That's a bit curious, isn't it? So this might even be big enough to do one of those quilt block books. I haven't got my tape measure out here. See how deep this is. If that's 12 inches or more, that would work, I reckon. I'd never thought of using that for that, but that might work as a big one, a big book with a big bit of wool in it, some big bits of wool. This is another bit of Sanderson I've had for a while, and again, I think it was just this bit. This is a lot softer than this one, but this is, I used a bit of this in the blue Sanderson kit I bought from So Be recently. I used the other bit of that as a pocket inside, but imagine that as a needle book. Oh yeah, that one's going to be a needle book for sure. This is another bit. I'm not sure if this is Sanderson or not. It is a 52% linen, 48% cotton. It does have some bits written on the selvage, but it's cut off so I can't see. It does look like Sanderson to me. And again, It's been cut off, so I've only got this. This would be a big book, a big one I could use. It's only about, I don't know, I'd say it's 18, 20 inches deep, this one. It'd be good if I had a tape measure out here. Let me see if I've got one in here. I've got a few, I'm sure I've got one. Not that it really matters, but it might be an idea to give you guys an idea of what size these bits are. And look, I can't tell you where I got a lot of these. Some of them I've had for years. Some of them I can tell you where they came from. But some I've had for years. I thought I had a tape measure, but it's a bit of one of those fabric ones that came in the kit. I've got to use saying something. I've wanted one of those for ages. Aha! I do have one. I thought I had one. I must have 50 tape measures, and I can never find one when I want one. Okay, I'm just checking. Okay, there's no more. Just making sure I haven't missed any messages. Okay, let's have a look. So this one is 16.5 inches deep. I was a bit off with that one. So that could make a big, that one would be work for a big quilt block book. Let's have a look. How wide is it? I don't think I'd go much deeper than 12 inches, to be honest. I don't know why, that just seems like a good size to me, so I would trim that down. There's 12 inches there. So there's going to be 4 inches taken off the depth of that. And then I wouldn't go much wider than 12 inches either. And look, it's not actually much wider than that anyway. So there'd be 2 inches come off either side of that as well. It's not quite enough to fold over to make a pocket insert, but that piece could be used as a big, I should start making some of those too. A big quilt block one. Then I've got this beautiful bark cloth. I'm pretty sure I bought this from Sue that designed the Gosling quilt. I have moved some of this on, but I'm in love with this, so I want to keep some. And these flourishes, they're actually gold. I don't know if it's getting picked up, but it is a metallic gold. And yeah, beautiful vintage bark cloth. So I'd love to make a needle book or a big book out of that. Now this is a piece of reclaimed linen that I got from a nursing home, would you believe? And I bought a kit from So Be recently before Christmas because I fell in love with the fabric in it, and it was the same bloody linen, wasn't it? But it was only a small piece and it was an odd shape. But this is big. This is stunning. I love this bit. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I might even frame it, but it has been reclaimed, I believe, from a lounge. I've got a feeling I might have sold half of this. I should have kept it all because it's just stunning. And I'm thinking I might even frame this when I move and hang it in my bedroom because I just love it. It's just gorgeous. And there was a heap of fabrics donated to a nursing home that I volunteer at every now and then and take Willow to visit the residents. And the lady that donated it was an upholsterer. So there's some beautiful, this was reclaimed from a lounge, like I said. And I've bought some of those pieces and moved some pieces on and sent the money back to the aged care facility as well. I think this might be another piece I got from Sue. Don't know what it is. It's like an upholstery fabric. It's not linen, but it is beautiful. I think it's cotton. This would certainly be big enough to do a big quilt block book. But the florals are just stunning. It's hard to, some of these pieces, especially that one, I'd like to fussy cut to get the big blush in the centre on the front, but then you tend to waste so much fabric. This is some beautiful vintage linen I bought from an op shop a while ago, and I have been using bits and pieces, but it's such a beautiful fabric, I don't want to use it. Now I know I got this from Sue. This is a Sanderson, and it's, I believe, a reclaimed curtain linen. It's just stunning. It has been, you can see it's been stitched. Sanderson fabric. It's more like a, I suppose, a dress fabric weight, a little bit heavier. It's a bit heavier than a quilting cotton, but it's not heavy like these other Sanderson linens. So yeah, I just love this. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but oh, it's gorgeous. And I've seen it, I think, with a maybe a pastel green background. Yeah, love that one. I love them all. That's my problem. These came from Sue as well, but reclaimed. I think she gifted me these pieces from the duvet, the vintage duvets. It's so delicate, but look at that. I love it. Absolutely love these. That's a bit different pattern to the one I put in the meter book. And then there's a bit more of this pink. I think they're just, oh, look at that. They're just really nostalgic. Beautiful. Love that. So a lot of these fabrics from Sue, I believe, I might be wrong, but I believe she originally collected them to put in her Gosling quilt. Look at this. This is a type of bark cloth. It's not a traditional bark cloth, but when I've been researching bark cloth, I found out that they don't all have to be the same weave. But this is a type of bark cloth. It came from Sue again, and it's just a really pretty. I find it difficult to find florals in the bark cloth. I mean, that's probably not true. I do find some online, but they're usually out of my price range. So this is another type of bark cloth from Sue, and it is absolutely stunning. This I'm definitely keeping, no doubt about it. I'm fairly certain this will go into a needle-book somehow. Look at that bit there could, oh, it's just stunning. You know, when I was younger, I used to see these fabrics and think, oh my God, they're so ugly. Why would anyone buy those fabrics? Now I just adore them. That would make a lovely book, wouldn't it? I think this is another bit from Sue Garrett. That's her name, isn't it? Is it Sue Garrett? Oh, look at this. Now that's like is it chintz? Is that what it's called? It's like a sateen. It is stunning though. That I don't know what I'm going to do. Potentially I could frame that bit on again because it's just this big bloom in the centre of this piece of fabric. That's it. But absolutely stunning. Oh, my knees are really hurting. Look at that, beautiful. Another piece of this piece came from Sue as well. This is linen, and again, it's absolutely stunning. Beautiful weight of fabric. Look at that. Isn't it amazing? I love it. Imagine that as a needle book. Just trying to fold it to so we can see what it might potentially look like. Sorry guys, it's a bit stiff. It doesn't want to play nice. It's a bit elongated a bit still, but that would make a stunning book. Oh, I love it. I'm going to have to do that one. That's beautiful. What I'm going to do with all these books, I don't know. Potentially I might start selling some. I have been asked a few times, but I never keep anything I make. Try and keep some. Oh, that's salvage to no, it's not. I thought it was salvage to salvage, but it's not. I would like to keep some, but it's going to depend on whether I've got bills to pay, which I do. I'm still paying off that vet bill. This is another bit from Sue. This is again like it's an upholstery. I don't know if chintz is the word I want. It's got a slight sheen to it, this one, but this is very pretty. I like that one. Furnishing fabric, guaranteed fast colours. That's all I can see on the salvage at the moment. That's all that's left. This is another bit from Sue. Don't know what this is. It's almost a type of bark cloth. Again, it's not, but it's similar to bark cloth. It's got tulips on it. I bought a piece of this, and then I believe I was gifted a piece as well later. This is reclaimed from something. We've got a hem here, or a seam. Oh, this is lovely too. They're just divine. What I could potentially do with this, because this is how wide that is, I could, square this off and then attach another piece to the back and make a book with that. Oh, isn't it gorgeous? How wide is it? Well, it's about 12 and a half, 13 inches. Hang on, let's go from edge to edge. It's nearly 14 inches, but I would, yeah, look at that. Beautiful. So that could potentially be another, it's a finer fabric. That actually feels like it could have linen in it, or it's a cotton linen blend. Another bit from Sue. Maybe these are all just bits from Sue. This is reclaimed from something. But when I saw this, I thought, oh, needlebook. English Garden by Jonelle Duracolor. Look at that. I like that. How many times have I said that? I like that. Oh, I like that. Crikey. Just folding it back up. Yeah, as I said, that one's obviously been reclaimed from something because it's got the seam. It's very soft, that one. This one I'm not sure why I bought this one. It just doesn't do it for me, to be honest. I'm really throwing my tape measure away. I mean, it's lovely, but it's just not the caliber of the others. I bet you that's from Willow, that mark. It looks like a dog slobber. As much as I try to keep these away from her, we still manage to get slobber on the fabrics. That's why I end up doing so much bloody washing. Okay, another bit from Sue. Now, this is quite a heavy, chunky weave. It could potentially be linen. It does feel like a linen or a linen blend, and it is selvage to selvage. It's only, I know you can't see it, guys. I will pull it out in a minute and show you. It's probably about 80 centimeters by the looks. 90 on the dot. But I think it's an upholstery fabric. Let's go upside down. It's got roses and lilacs, and there we go. And I've just got this, it's really just this centerpiece again. There's bits either side, but if I wanted to use it for a book, I'm going to lose a lot of it. But can you see how heavy the weave is on this? It's quite heavy. Lovely and soft though. Oh, it's got passion flowers in it too. That's pretty cool. Okay, this next bit, another bit, I'm not sure why I got this. This is again from Sue, but I do have some others. What are they called? Beautiful old vintage fabrics anyway that would sort of work with this. From Victoria and Albert, Lifestyle by Code. So it reminds me of wallpaper, this one. I would assume it potentially did have a matching wallpaper, that one. It's a lovely one. Another bit from Sue. This is another upholstery fabric. It is a Kaufman, P. Kaufman. I think that's Paul, isn't it? Paul Kaufman. Kaufman. Pretty sure Kaufman also does quilting fabrics from memory. And this is fabric, soil and stain repellent finish printed in the US. Do you want to admit that at the moment? Again, this is another big, like a big panel, a centerpiece. Oops, sorry, I gave you a big knock then. This is almost like a sateen as well. It's hard to get it in the shot so you can see it. And I've ended up with two pieces of that. I get on there when Sue does this to vintage fabrics, you've got to be sitting there refreshing. And sometimes I jump the gun and say, I'll have that. And I end up with two pieces of the same thing. So yeah, there's another piece, the same. It'll be the same sort of centerpiece. I'm blinking hopeless. I've got to stop buying fabrics because I'm trying to de-stash, but some of these they're just adorable. Now this is another upholstery fabric made in England. Clabberton, a RAM fabric, RAM. It has been reclaimed from something because it has a couple of seams and it's got a bit of a slub in it, this one. Okay, we've got all that top bit that's sort of off center, but then we've got this big feature piece, centerpiece. Looks like I've got it upside down. So I've got that one, another bit from Sue, and then I've got one final piece from Sue, which is another stunner. It's a real, I think, a pastel. I've sort of ordered more vintage fabric from Nairi too, see what she comes up with. This is another reclaimed piece, and it is, what does it say on the selvage? Markwood fabrics, maybe? This does look a lot like Sanderson, this design. The selvage has really been cut off, so I can't really read it, but I've got a large piece. It's like a stone wash finish as well. It's just stunning. And again, it's another one of those centerpieces like Sanderson. And I think I've got two of those centerpieces on this one. I think from memory there was only one piece of this available, and I just kept refreshing. I wanted this one. Refresh. Don't ask me how much I paid for them. Way more than what my budget would allow. And again, this is why I'm still paying off my bloody bills, because I keep doing stupid things like this and buying fabrics. Right. So potentially I could get all these needlebooks together and sell some of them and get some of my money back. That's the idea. Oops, I'm losing my jewellery that I've taken off that kept falling off. Okay, so that's that. Oh crikey, sorry guys, my knees are hurting again. So I've done the needlebooks in the last video. I've done the vintage hankies. I've done the tea towels. I've done those bits. I've done the vintage linens that I wanted to show you. I know what else. I don't think I've shown these. Now, these are just little bits of vintage things that I saved that I could use in needlebooks, I suppose. I've got a few pieces of this. I'd say it's probably from the 90s. It's from a garment. You can tell it's been, looks like someone had actually cut it off the top of a blouse or a skirt. Probably a skirt because there's quite a bit there. But I've used this in some of my stitcheries already. I really like it. Stitch that down. It's got netting on the back. It's a bit stretchy, but it's just got these micro sequins that are really cute. This is reclaimed from a cushion, vintage cushion. I've only got that bit there. I've got another bit somewhere. This is a bit more of that beautiful vintage linen that I used in a needlebook. These are bits of linen again off, the stamped doilies that you stitch. By the time you trim around them, these bits are left over. So I keep these, and a bit of this is what I use to patch them. It's not in this video. The sandwich tray cloth in the last video. This is a piece of a tablecloth. Isn't it beautiful? It was full of holes and stains. It's actually been tossed out. It was in the rag bag though. But beautiful piece of fabric. This is from the 50s, I believe. Um, Heavier fabric. This was actually, I reclaimed this from a dress that I bought. It had, someone had started to sew it, they didn't finish it, and I saw the fabric, thought I have to have that. So I've actually started a needlebook out of that as well. This is a piece of Sanderson. I've cut a bit the flowers out to use in a bag I'm making, but I thought I'd keep that. I like using those in bits. These, I cut out a heap of two, is that 2 inch? Looks like 2 inch. Yeah, cut out a heap of 2 inch squares for those 9 square patches that I was doing, and I keep finding bits here and there. Now that was tied around the Newman fabrics, the Emma Newman fabrics that I bought from Beck. That was tied around there. So I thought I'll keep that. I can use that. It's a lovely little dot. More of that vintage linen that I've saved from the cutting around the doilies. And I even like how you can still see that Semco's printed on there, and this the code number, and the 12 inches by 18 inches. There's a bit more of that fabric. A little bit of ticking. I remember buying that in the 90s for one of my guild projects. That's all I've got left of it, I think. That's been reclaimed from a shirt. That's a bit of vintage fabric. I've got a big piece of that. I think I'll put some of them in kits, to be honest. This is a beautiful piece of like sheer vintage. I love that bit of fabric. Again, these are just bits that have been reclaimed or salvaged. Bit of a napkin. It's a shame to not use that cross stitch in something. Someone's hand done all that. This is reclaimed from a cushion I bought from my cousin. I think she charged me about $2 for it. It was hanging in her window for months. And every time I walked past it, I thought, oh, I've got to have that. I love it. I love the colour. It's just stunning. And then I said to myself one day, if I go back and that cushion's still there, I'm going to buy it. And she had it, I think she had it on special. She had a special on her linens that day. I think that's 75% off. So I got it for like $2. And I have deconstructed it. I did say to her, it's most likely they'll deconstruct that to use the fabric. She said, I don't care. But it's beautiful, beautiful fabric. I've got a bit more of it, the other side of the cushion, I think. But I'm thinking about using some of it to patch up. I've got this duvet I bought in the 90s, and I love it. It's just a beautiful purple. I love purple. And it's almost those colours, but it's got holes wearing through it. And I'm thinking of using some of that to patch it up. Another bit of reclaimed vintage fabric. Again, another bit of linen from one of those. That was from a tablecloth, I think. That had been stitched and salvaged, so I kept that. This is another bit from Sue Garrett. That reclaimed from the duvet. She must sit there and undo all the picking, unpick all the stitching, undo all the picking, crying out loud. This is a bit of a napkin that I've kept that can be used in something. This is vintage fabric from India. Now what this is, you know those rag rugs you buy, and it's like rolls of fabric all stitched up, rows and rows and rows and rows, it's just rolled up. I went through a stage in the 90s and noughties where I was buying those rugs just to construct them because there was some stunning vintage fabrics in there, and this was one of those fabrics. You don't tend to get these beautiful old fabrics in them anymore. I still keep an eye out when I see them, but they're usually more like a t-shirt material now. They're not these vintage, beautiful vintage cottons. So that was one of the cottons that was in. It's very lightweight, very fine. That was one of the cottons that was in one of those. I don't have much left anymore. Another bit of reclaimed from a tablecloth. Beautiful flowers. This is a bit of linen. I don't think it's ever been used, but see, we've got the selvage here. It's covered in rust stains, and I love it. I thought about soaking it out, but I don't know if I will. I quite like it. That potentially came from my friend who owns the shop, I think. That looks like something she'd saved for me. There's a piece of that hand-dyed wool that I've had since the 90s. I bought from the quilt shop many, many years ago. So I keep any little piece that I've got left and use that in projects. Now this I bought from Nairi recently, and it had vintage textiles in it. Now the first half I'm going to show you aren't from Nairi, they weren't in here. This was what Nairi had put in to hold it all together. Now these first bits came from a 1930s apron that was just all pieced together with squares. They were all off shape and dirty and whatnot. So I deconstructed it to use these fabrics. Look at this one. Some of them, I've actually made one. I don't know where I put it. I'll have to look for that. I did make a needle book out of a piece of this one. And, you know, just folded it over, attached another bit to the back and made a little needle book. I'll have to find that. I don't think I've shown you guys that one. That was just a quick little make. So yeah, these are all from that apron. So I've folded these over already to try and visualize little needle books, some of them. This piece needs to be squared off a bit. Got a few of this yellow one. It's quite textured, that. I love this one. I'm going to make a needle book out of this one. Sorry, I'm off the camera again. Oh, the colour's beautiful. It's not big enough to fold over, but I think I could. Imagine if I just did that. That's going to be way too small. It still fit needles in it though. No, I'll add another piece to the side. I really like that one. Needle book for that one. And this one. I've already folded that over. Isn't that cute? This one's quite fragile though. These bits I tossed up whether to, you can see where I've folded them. I can make that a little needle book. And then this one, I already folded that over. Little house. Don't mind this one either. Whoops, a daisy. Slightly more 50s than 30s. Some of these look more 1950s. I keep going out of shot. Sorry, guys. This is a cute one. I think I used this in the needle book I made too, a piece of this one. I can't remember. I'll have to find it. I only did it recently. I like this one. That's more 70s, isn't it, that one? It's much older than that though. That one almost feels like feed sack. So does this one. I reckon that's feed sack. I'm just going to sit that aside. That's a lovely piece of, call that a gingham? There's another one of those green ones. Now that's it for the apron pieces. Now these next pieces are just little pieces I've reclaimed from projects I've been doing. They're all vintage fabrics, so any little bits I've kept because they're just too lovely to throw away. That's probably the most modern one I've got in here. I think that's from the noughties, I believe. This is an older one. Now this piece came in a kit from Beck, one of the pinch pot kits. I've got threads tangled up here. There's a bit of Liberty that came in the scrap pack that I showed earlier. Again, little vintage bits that are left over from other projects I've done that are just too lovely to not keep. And this is a bit left over from that came in on the needlebook kits from Sobe, from Beck. Again, more lovely little vintage. Isn't that pretty? I don't like green, but I like that. These bits are, I believe, I said it earlier, they're from Sobe. They're modern fabrics, but they're like a feed sack reproduction or something. Petite pan, that was a petite pan, that aqua one. This has been reclaimed from an apron, but it had colour run all over it. It's got purple all over it, so I've only reclaimed little bits that don't seem to have the colour run on them. And this feels a bit like feed sack too. More little bits that I've kept. I love these, aren't they sweet? I like that little, this bit's an odd shape, but it's too pretty not to keep. That's another bit that I've kept. That was from a sleeve that someone was making. It just had 2 sleeves, and I thought it was stunning. Very 70s. Now this came in one of the needlebook kits from Beck. I have shared some of that, but I do love that fabric. This is a bit left over from that fabric I'm making the needlebook kit out and sent to Ashley. So potentially, the way I've folded that, I think looks like I was going to make a little matching needlebook out of that. Maybe I'll set that aside so I do that. It's another little strip. Again, these bits came in the pinch pot kits I bought from Beck. These next bits. These are all linen. So they've got that lovely hand stitched edging on them. I don't know if that bit came from Beck or that was a bit I had. I think these are all from the pinch pot kits. And I bought these, as I mentioned earlier, probably in the last video, mainly for the fabrics because I want to use some of them in that, see that, neon needle book I'm doing. Oh, crikey Moses. That feels like feed sack too, but I don't believe they would have had those colours or those designs. But that feels a lot like feed sack, that. Yeah, neon to put in that needlebook kit. This came in the pinch pot kit. Bit of linen with a hand stitched seam. Again, I thought these might go in the neon needlebook kit. Yeah, bought all these 2 packs just for these neon bits of fabric. These bits too, these will go in that. I reckon these will work in that needlebook. They came in the pinch pot kits. This came in the pinch pot kit. And so did this bit. Right, this is a bit that from one of the projects I was doing that I salvaged. It's got little rust stains on it, but I really like it. Now these bits are from, that's a bit from Nairi, I think. These bits are from So Be, and these I reckon might be feed sack. They are old. They've got stains on them, but they're beautiful fabrics. Look at this one. And these are all I've got. These are the biggest pieces I've got. I think these are potentially the only feed sack I have. Look at that. I'd love to have a collection of feed sacks. They're just way out of my budget. Look at that. I love them. I love these feed sack fabrics. Look at these bits. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Again, this is almost neon that could potentially go in that needle book. Lovely, lovely fabrics. These are from So Be. Look at that. I love that. I believe these are feed sack. Tiny little hand stitched 9 patch. Another tiny little hand stitched 9 patch. This had a really dark stain on it there. I've tried to soak it out, but I've lost a bit of the patina soaking that one. And this is another patch from So Be. Oh, look at that. I love it. And I've already put one of these in that Sanderson needle book that I've showed earlier in the last video. More neon, vintage neon that could go in that needle book. I believe this is neon to me. It's neonish. This could go in the needle book. Again, those pieces, not those feed sacks. I bought them separately, I think. But these still came in the pinch pot kits. Oh, sorry, I'm pinching a nerve in my leg. Maybe sciatica. It's going all the way down my leg. This is another bit from Sue Garrett. Bit of reclaimed duvet cover bit. And I've got more of that over there too, haven't I? Now the rest of these are from Nairi. I think this is a bit these came in this tin. This bit, now that to me feels like bead sack. These are, I think, French, vintage French fabrics. I have used some of these in that Sanderson needle book already. Lovely, lovely fabrics. This one's very delicate. Oh, that one's quite delicate too, isn't it pretty? I see these people with these big pieces of vintage French fabrics and Italian fabrics. I think, oh, this is stunning. I'd love to get some of those. This came in here. Isn't that beautiful? I need to sort of tuck that under there because it keeps getting away on. This came in a tin from Nari. This is so delicate. It's crazy. I can hardly feel it between my fingers. Look at that. Italian is bloody hell. Let me put my glasses on. It is too. That's an Italian insertion stitch done by hand. Look how fine it is. That's crazy. I didn't realize that's what it was until now. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Wow, beautiful. I did not realize that's what that was until now. It's amazing what I can see outside in the light. Oh look, I didn't realize that before. Look at the strawberries. Very delicate vintage fabric again. Again, I believe most of these are French, vintage French. Bit of ticking, look at that, vintage ticking. Oh, these came in the pinch pot kits. These little trims. I've lost a bit of that one. I had 2 bits of that, another bit of the trim. Now this came in this tin from Nairi. Look at that. It's so delicate. So is this bit. This is amazing. Silk. Oh, got to work out what to do with this. It's so delicate. Look at that. Wowzers. That's all. Those insertions, those lace insertions are all hand stitched. Beautiful. This came in the kit, in the tin. Sometimes I just go, oh, I want to see where the rest of that is. What else was I printed on there? This almost feels like flannelette. It's so fluffy on the back. It's a bit unusual. This looks like linen, but look at it. This is, look at that little bit. And then this has got a hem. I could potentially unpick that so I've got a bit more fabric. Oh, look at that. I didn't notice that before. It's got something was stitched on there. Don't know what that was. It's quite thick and firm though. Don't know, didn't notice that before. This was in the tin. This is, I reckon this is milliner's ribbon. It's quite stiff. It's gold. Interesting. That piece. Oh my goodness, my hip. You can see these remind me of French General, all those reproduction French General fabrics. I reckon they were potentially inspired by some of these sorts of things. They probably were, I think. This is another one of that funny flocked flannelly fabric that I've never seen anything like it before, except those pieces in here. Look at this bit. That's pretty. Some of these are just so delicate. It's crazy. I get anxious touching these. I don't know why, probably because they're so old, but I feel like I'm holding my breath. I'm going to pull all these out so I can, because I can't see the bottom of the tin now. This came in it as well. And there's a little needle unpicker in it as well. Maybe I should put that over that ribbon to help hold it in a bit better. Oh, right out loud. So that's how it came presented, with this strip of fabric in there wrapped around it, and there was a lace, hand knitted lace doily wrapped around it as well. And it was wrapped, had a beautiful bit of silk ribbon wrapped around it, and there was an earring attached to it. Beautiful. I wonder where I've put that. I saw it earlier. Oh, it's up there actually. So a lot of these have got hems on them. That one's got a hem too. Oh, this is another, look at this. Another bit of very delicate silk. It's all falling apart. That's like a sateen. It's funny fabric. It's got a sheen on the front, and it almost feels fluffy on the back. This is either full of sizing or it's been heavily starched, that one. This has been reclaimed from something. Look at this. It's quite a delicate, it's a heavier, like it's a woven fabric, but it just feels very delicate. Check this bit out. I love that. I love those holes in it like that. This last bit's stunning. This is very delicate. Look at that. Beautiful. So it's going to take me 5 days to pack all that away again. So I'm just going to set it aside for now. And, oh, sorry, I'm trying really hard not to moan and groan. I'm really hurting. Okay, now I've only got a few more things left I want to show you. I'm very grateful for all of you who actually hang around and watch these. Apparently, there are quite a few of you that find these interesting, but I don't know, personally, I don't know if I'd be able to sit there that long and watch as much as you guys do. I've got some more vintage fabrics in here. Here, this is what was wrapped around the tin from Newman. This beautiful gold tassel, this bit of silk ribbon, and this that was sort of up there. I've put it the wrong way. There we go. Hang on, it's still facing the wrong way. It's beautiful clip-on earrings. Look at that. Isn't that stunning? So that was wrapped around the tin as well. Then I've got a bit of a collection of vintage milk jug covers. Now this one originally I thought was netting, but it's actually completely hand crocheted. It's got vintage glass beads on it. Where are we? We've got a bit of a mess here. This one's 2 layers of netting, crocheted edge, and these beautiful vintage glass beads again. I have moved a few of these on, but some of these are my favourites. So it's filet lace, hand crocheted, and it's got milk. Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? Vintage glass beads, but we've lost some. Some of the corners have come off. So I am on the lookout for more vintage glass beads that I could potentially repair that with. I'm sure I've got a jar of them somewhere. This one's hand knitted in cotton, and it's got wooden beads. So I thought that one was really sweet. Another filet lace, hand crocheted. It's got a hole in it, this one. I should repair that. Look, someone's already repaired it there. I didn't see that before. And they're vintage glass beads as well. Those vintage beads just feel beautiful in the hand when you pick those up. This is a sweet little one. Another filet lace. It's got a butterfly. It's not a very big one. I'm not sure what it would have covered. Now this one, I might salvage the beads from this one, I think, because I don't like it. It's just a cheap mass-produced cotton doily that someone's added crochet around and these vintage beads. So I think I'll reclaim these beads from this one, glass beads, and put them on that other piece, even though they're not the same colours. And here's another one. It's the milk ones, and he's got no beads left at all. So potentially that one with on the cheap thing, I can reclaim those. Now this one is my favourite one so far. Very delicate. It's got a hole in it I should repair. Look at that. Sydney Bridge. And I've got two more. I bet that's what they were. I've got two more of these lace panels. One's got a kangaroo on it and one's got emus on it, I think. And they're very delicate. They're all torn around the edges and there's no beads on them. But I'm just thinking, I wonder if that's what they originally were. Okay. Here's some more vintage fabrics I've been collecting over the years. They're just little bits and pieces. I love this bit. That's all I've got left. And I'm kicking myself for getting rid of the other bit of that. And this is the same. I had a large piece of this, and this is all I've got left now. But I really like that one. This is a bit of bark cloth. I've got a larger piece of this that I might make some needlebooks. I've actually cut a couple of pieces to make needlebooks out of that. This is a pretty little vintage cotton I had. I had a larger piece of this too. I think that's all I got left. Another bit of bark cloth that had like peacock on it. This fabric is reclaimed from, remember those, I don't know if you call them cots. I think they came out in the 50s, and it was a mattress, a thin mattress, and it was on a sort of metal frame. It folded up like that, and the mattress stayed in it, and you just sort of slipped it behind the door until you had guests. But the little thin mattresses that were on them, this is reclaimed from one of those. Again, more of that apron fabric, another vintage cotton. I like that yellow one. All sorts of bits of vintage fabrics in here. And they're all just bits. Here's that lovely yellow again. Kicking myself for getting rid of that because that's a lovely vintage. Same as that one. Lovely vintage fabric I should never have gotten rid of. This is some of the silk that goes in that needle book. The silk kimono. More vintage cottons, vintage bits. Now this is another bit from one of those rugs that reclaimed Indian fabrics. Beautiful, lightweight, vintage cotton. And again, I'm kicking myself for getting rid of as many as that as I've got. I think they're the only bits I've got left. It's just a pile of bits. This beautiful vintage silk velvet, I had a roll of that and I gave it to a fellow I worked with who was going to use it to upholster something, and then he never used it and he took off, and I would love to get it back. It was beautiful. It's the only bit I've got left. I've sold some of this. That's all I've got left. I love that. I think Missy bought some of that. Missy made this. Missy made that. Missy made. This is that what's left of that cushion I was talking about earlier. I had a little strip of it. So I've reclaimed that from a cushion. I don't know what happened to the other part of it. Maybe I did a needle book that I've sold on. Here's the other bit. I talked about this earlier, that crocheted lace. Just little funny little pouches I've got. Look at that zipper. Oh my goodness. Who on earth went to the trouble to put a zipper in there? That's crazy. I've got it. press this yet. Press that lace edge out. Oh my goodness, that is so tiny. What would you put in there? Your jewellery? It's like a friend gave me that. Look, even the little hanger tab's been crocheted. I'm sure, yeah, there's a hole in it. I need to repair that. And then this little one, another little, it's a drawstring pouch, this one. Oh my goodness, I've never seen it done like that before. That's a bit cute. This is some reclaimed from, I've put some of this in that Sanderson needle book. More bits of linen I've hung on to applicated napkin. This is another jug cover. I tried to starch this and stand it up. Always wanted one of these, and I've only recently got my hands on it. I don't know if you can tell. It's a little hand crocheted teacup on top of the jug cover, but it's a lot of its vintage beads are gone. There's only 3 left. So that's another little jug cover I've recently got. And found this one, another little, see the little teacup, the saucer, and then a little teacup with a handle, all crocheted on. I need to starch that somehow to get, it was probably soaked in a sugar solution. Remember, they're really big in the 80s. When you went to a wedding, you'd get is it a bonbonniere? And they'd have a little swan basket or a little basket that was stiffened with sugar and it had almonds in it. I can't remember what the almonds are called. Yeah, there we go. Another jug cover with a little teacup on it. Always wanted one of them. Here's another vintage jug cover. This guy is a bit, I don't know whether to reclaim these beads from this one or hang on to it. This is the, I should put it back. This is the hand knitted vintage lace doily that came wrapped around those vintage textiles from Nairi. I've got a few of these, aren't they cute? They're all hand stitched. I'd say they were little doilies, but a friend gave me those recently. They're very sweet. More bits of vintage fabric, vintage, just bits of linen and cottons, and then I've been collecting these. I've wanted these for years. I've only recently come across these. These are all bought at different times. They're not all, but I've wanted these for so long, and I'm starting to find some. And this basket's just full of, I need to sort it out more. Look at the pins, vintage pins that come in I sold some of these. Look at that. That's amazing, I thought. More of the rayon. I've got some of my wooden reels in here, another rayon. So these wooden reels, the Silco, that one's not wood actually, that's a plastic one. There's a wooden one with nothing else. Oh, there's another rayon. Got more than I thought I had. This button, this covered button came off that purple mauve cushion that I reclaimed. These were given to me earlier last year. There's a pair of these. I'm not making this very easy, am I? And I've started crocheting around them. They were just given to me. I'm going to have to redo that because I didn't realise how hard that's pulling in. It's too tight. I think I was thinking by the time I went and did the rest of it, it would open up, but that's way too tight. That's not going to work. So anyway, I did start crocheting those. I've got a pair of those. What else is in? Oh, this is these beautiful vintage. I want to do something special with that. It's all hand stitched, a little patch of some kind. Should look after it better, shouldn't I? And then I've just got, oh, this is a bit cute. This strip of vintage buttons. They're nothing special, but they're really cute on the card. It's one of these pansies that someone started to make. Oh, this came in the little tin from Nairi too. Isn't it gorgeous? A little vellum with this tiny little peg and some thread wrapped around it. That was beautiful. She presents her stuff so beautifully. Oh, and this isn't the one from Nairi. This is the one from my mum, but There's something similar to this in the tin from Nairi. My mum gave me that one. I should keep them together. I've been using the one from Nairi, that's why it's not in there. Bit of vintage gimp. I like these sort of trims. Little bits of vintage lace. This cute little trim. I've got this in a dark blue too. I reckon that's 70s. That reminds me of men's suits. Oh, there's that other bit of trim I thought I'd lost from the pinch pop thing. Bit of vintage. I love these sorts of ribbons. Vintage ribbon. Another vintage ribbon. I've got a box of vintage ribbons. I don't have a lot of them, but this came in a pack of crap I bought recently. There was just bits of torn up vintage fabrics with paint and stuff on them, but this tatting shuttle was in it. I bought these ages ago. I've tried to get my hands on some of these for so long, and I finally bought these for myself. I thought I had paid way too much for them. They're these tiny little vintage cotton girls. Paid $5.50 for that pack. Looks like I've pulled one out. Don't know what I've done with it or why I would have done that. I think I have another one in there though that a girlfriend gave me. I can put back in there. Another little flower. So yeah, this is a pretty little ribbon. I've got this in a couple of different colours actually. This is a vintage reproduction, this one, but look at that. I quite like that one. Anyway, that's what's in that basket. I bought that basket at the op shop for about 50 cents. Isn't it cute? There was two. I should have bought the other one. Okay, so that's that one. You guys must get so bored with this stuff. I prattle on and on and on. Oh, crikey. My hips. This is a piece, I've spoken about this before. I don't think I've ever shown it. This is a piece of vintage lace. It needs to be cleaned. My grandmother gave it to me, and her girlfriend gave it to her. Now, my grandmother was born in the 30s, I believe. She'd be 100 and something this year. Must have been the 20s if that's true. Now, her girlfriend gave this to her. Her girlfriend was a little bit older than her. And this piece of lace was given to my grandmother's girlfriend by her grandmother. So I actually took it to a lace expert. When Ian's Glory Box was in Beaumont Street years ago, beautiful shop it used to be. She sold the most beautiful laces and fabrics, and she used to sell a lot of hand painted laces at the time as well. They're just beautiful stuff. Anyway, she had a visiting lace expert in, and I can't remember if this expert was from America or the UK. I think she was from America. And she told me this piece of lace was priceless and that it was hundreds of years old, but I'm not sure these days. I should look after it much better than I do. It is, they're not sure if, to me it looks like something that would have made a dress in the 20s, but they believe it's much older than that. Now, it measures, it's netting, it's all hand stitched, which is amazing. It is about 62 inches, so what's that? 1.6 meters wide, and it is, I will show you guys in a minute, bear with me. It's approximately about 98 centimeters deep, so not quite a meter. And all the top, it's all, like I said, all hand stitched, incredible, on netting. I can't remember what sort of lace that is called. And there's a piece that is, from the top it measures approximately 56 centimeters. Oh, hang on. 55 centimeters or 22 inches. And then there's a band that has been all hand stitched, and it could potentially be an insertion. It's a bit hard to tell, and it is approximately 2 inches wide, just over 2 inches, or 5 centimeters, this band. And then there is a pleated section that's got these box pleats of lace that's about 39 centimeters or 15 inches. So I'll try and show you now. It's so delicate, I'm trying to be gentle. So this is the top bit, hand stitched, can you believe? Someone has sat and stitched all that. It's actually been couched on by the looks. Let me put my glasses on. It's really hard to tell. It looks a bit, oh, sorry, I think my earphones just died. I hope you can still hear me. It looks like it's been couched on, but I can't see any. Oh yes, I can. You can see some holding threads just over there. See over along that bit of. So it's all couched on. Some of the filling bits are hand stitched, all the filling. But if you look closely, it's all done with a continuous piece of thread and just overlapped and spiraled and looped. So this is the top part that measures, what did I say? I can't remember now. 56 centimeters deep, maybe a bit more. And then it's all folded over, obviously. Then we come to this band that's been inserted or added. And then we've got this bit sort of just hangs off. Then we've got these box pleats. So they are, each pleat is about 12 inches wide. And then see, we've got the box pleat, and see how it's actually been embroidered to perfectly fill these pleats. There's so much work gone into this, it's crazy. You see that? And then you peek underneath, and it's, look at the joins, there's joins in there. And then when we go down the bottom of the box pleat, there's that. But then these are at the bottom. It's really hard to give you a big picture of the whole thing. There's a dreadful stain on it here. I don't know whether to try and clean it, or am I going to lose all that patina. It's a beautiful beigey coffee colour, and it's got all little stains and marks all over. It is stunning. So the lady that lace expert, I don't remember her name. I was only in my early 20s. I'd not had my first child when I took this in there. I took it into this lace expert, and I just remember her gasping. I had it wrapped in a towel and put away in a fabric bag to transport it and store it. It needs to be stored better again. And I pulled it out of this bag, and she just let out this gasp, and they laid it out on the table and had a look at it, and she just said to me, it's priceless. She believes it was hundreds of years old, but yeah, I don't know. It hasn't actually been authenticated or anything. There's just bits of laces I've been using and needle books and things. I've got one last pile of bits over here. What on earth have I got? Let's have some of that vintage wool. I love this colour. I'm going to use this. Look at that. I actually think I was going to discard this, but I actually think I might use that and make a feature out of that. So I want to use that in one of those big quilt block books, some of that blanket, because I just like the colour of it. And I've got this bit. So I keep a lot of these little offcuts for needle books. This is a pretty colour. Some of these had dreadful stains on them. I listed some for sale, and it wasn't until I don't cut them up till they sell, because I don't want to just randomly cut up pieces for the sake of it. When I went to cut it up, it had more stains on it than I realised, even though they'd been soaked and sanitised in this beautiful green. Absolutely love this green colour. And it wasn't until it's been washed and cleaned and sanitised, but it wasn't until I went to cut it up I realised there's all these hairs in it, all these dog hairs, and they're not from my dog. They're not the same colour or the same length. So I felt dreadful. I tried to remove them all, but yeah, so I've got to fix that. There's another piece. I've got other colours too. And there's some more of those 9 patches I've done. I don't mind that one. But, where did I put the other ones I've done? Don't remember now. Here's another bit of that hand-dyed wool I've had for years. That'll go in a needle book, I think. That's got my hair on it. There's some hair on that that's transferred from that other green. These are vintage. I believe these were probably nightgowns. They've had linen on the bottom. I think they've been salvaged. Someone's done all this filet lace. It's like a top. You can wear it as a top. I think it's been recreated. It's got sleeves in it. But this poor one, all this neckline at the back is disintegrated. It's got this the front. I thought these were stunning. I've had these for years again. These were one of the first vintage things I bought when I was a teenager. I bought them at the time thinking I would wear them, but even though I was only a size 10 at the time, my arms still wouldn't fit in them. So I have tried to sell those. There doesn't seem to be any interest, so I might end up reclaiming them and using them in something, needlebooks. This is another one. This one isn't torn. The filet lace is all intact in this one, I think. There's the sleeves, and then it goes down, but it's not, the lace in this one isn't as deep. There probably was a ribbon originally wrapped through that. Then there's a press stud here, and then we've got linen. There was a casing stitched in, so a drawstring that's long gone. There's a little bit on this side left. There's some holes, but I reckon these were originally nightgowns or undergarments, and someone's reclaimed them to wear them, because at that stage in the 90s, it would have been in the 90s when I bought it, it was a big fashion trend to wear vintage crochet like that. Here's another bit of that bark cloth I talked about earlier. This is a bit I cut to make, I was going to use to make a quilt block book. That's one piece. I've got another piece of that somewhere. This is a piece of silk from one of those needlebook kits from Beck that probably needs to go back in the needlebook, and I don't know. I think I got frustrated with that bit because it warps. Piece of vintage Sanderson linen that I've got a bit more than that. I have sold some. Bit of vintage gingham, that's all I've got left. That would have been from the 50s or 60s. A bit of Doctor's flannel I bought a packet of this that was just a strip, and then when I got towards one end it was full of mock-ups. Bit of hand-dyed vintage blanketing I dyed years ago. I was going to make a needlebook kit. That was going to be the cover. That vintage fabric from the 50s. I really like that. I might even make it myself. I only came across these recently, and they're just stunning. And I think it's just because they've got the colour on them. These vintage crochet doilies. I'm going to keep that one. These are the first coloured ones I've come across with coloured trim. Now look at this one. It's a square one. And look at that. Look at the colours, like Beck always talks about, the colours of these vintage. They're just gorgeous. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. It's got a beautiful weight, that as well. Oh, a bit of more reclaimed linen that needs to go back in the reclaimed box. Been cut. There's bloody coffee on that too. I need to clean that. There's so many bits that have had coffee spilled on them and been knocked over. Sandwich tray cloth. And look at this sandwich tray cloth. This one has to stay in my collection, I think. Oh, it's stunning. Look at that. We've got these hand embroidered flowers on the linen, and then this is all done hand embroidered needle lace. It's absolutely stunning. Oh, I love that one. That one's got to stay in my collection. Another bit of reclaimed linen. Beautiful, delicate. This is, I think, the only piece of this applique like this that I've come across. I mean, I've got the pillow cases, but isn't it beautiful? I love this. That's staying in my collection. Oh, I bought these off Nari. I forgot that. Look at these ones. They sort of match. They really match that. I didn't realise that. Oh, maybe they were the Duchess set. They must have been. Gee, I'm a goose. What other ones from Nari? These are pretty ones. Here's more of those little. I knew I had more. Aren't they cute? They're all hand stitched. Don't think they're very old though. I don't think they're overly vintage. Maybe from the 80s. This is stunning. I did come across a square one of these recently, and I used it in my Sanderson needle book, but I'm going to keep this to use in something as well. I love that fine Battenberg. I've got a box full of this sort of stuff that I love, that I keep thinking I will finish, but I don't know when. This isn't the prettiest design I've come across. It's a table centre that hasn't been finished. All the embroidery is done. Beautifully embroidered. Look at those, how those leaves are done, the satin stitch leaves in there. And when we go over the other side, see, oh, hang on, I'll get to that in a minute. There's a big storage stain running down. See, there's the stain there. But have a look at this. Isn't that exquisite? Beautiful. Now, if you don't know, most of you would already know, obviously it's pure linen. It's the model number, or the whatever, how big it is, 14 by 20 inches. It hasn't got where it's made. It would be Irish linen. It's an old one. It's probably from the 20s, 30s, this one. Now what would normally be done is you'd cut all this excess linen off and crochet around this edge. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Oh, crying out loud. Sorry, my hips and my knees are killing me. These bits of linen that get cut off, I save them to use in other projects. There's a staple in there where the original instructions were suiting, or I don't think that one's twill. I'm not exactly sure what twill is at this point, but here's more of that beautiful mauve from the cushion cover that I salvaged, and this bit still has the covered button with it. So I love that fabric. I think it's the colour more than anything. It's an old fabric. I'm going to have a look and see if that's a feed sack, because it feels like feed sack, to be honest. It's beautiful. Anyway, I'll try and find out. Now, I sold one of these, but it's absolutely stunning. Another Duchess set. It's all been hand embroidered, but it hasn't been trimmed yet. The other one I trimmed before I sold it, so it needs to be trimmed all around these flowers. The crochet's already been done. So we've got the table center, and then I think I've got 4 of these, and I've already sold a few of them, but these are going to stay in my collection. And again, these bits of linen that need to be cut off, I save those to use in other projects. So yeah, absolutely love those. And this little linen and lace doily, I don't often keep these, but I think this one's quite pretty, and I might use it in something. And I think for today, that's it. I do have, excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. I do have a couple of boxes of my precious fabrics here. Oh, I'm going to show you this. Because I think oh, I bought these recently. I had a red too that I've used. This bias binding, isn't it sweet? I should get more of that. Oh, this is a vintage bias. Look at this. It's flannel. I want to use that in something. It hasn't, obviously the edges haven't been turned over, and it's going to be a bugger to do it by hand, so I'm not sure how I'm going to use that. Could potentially use it as a tie around a needle book, I suppose. I've had that for years. I think it might have come from my grandmother's, I can't remember. I bought, this is a recent purchase. David Textiles, manufactured, non-commercial home use only. I've never seen that before. Other uses prohibited. Well, how about that? I mean, it makes sense, but this is what I want to show you. And I don't normally buy fabrics like this anymore, but it was so cute. I had to buy some. What is it? Do we know? Oh, it's a red tractor. How about that? I need to go and buy some more, see what else they've got. Some Liberty that I bought. These are cottons. They're not the other fabric. That's why they were cheaper. Liberty Fabrics, English Garden Collection. That's a vintage. There's another. Oh, that's not Liberty. That's the Flower Garden, I think. In Japan. It might be Liberty. Maybe that is Liberty. I can't remember now. Isn't it pretty? But I like that one. I've used that. This is a Liberty. This might be the very first piece I bought. It's a this is the only piece I've got. I did send half to my daughter, but it's Hello Kitty Liberty. Look at that. I bought that from Sobe. I think it was the last piece she had in the shop. I love that. I've got to work out something to do with that because that's just precious. There's another. I think these are the flower ones from Melbourne. It says made in Japan though. I don't know. I can't remember. Some vintage fabrics. These are reproduction feed sacks. So are they. These are the Emma Newman ones. Beautiful. These are from Sobe. I love these. Emma Newman and Judy Newman ones. These are the only ones I have. I think that one might be a Judy Newman from Milk, from her Milk something design Milk. Doesn't say, but I've got a feeling that one. Yeah, that's a Judy Newman one from Milkwood. But I think the rest are all Emma Newman. Emma Newman. That's an Emma Newman. I think that's another Emma Newman. Yeah. So they all came from Sobe more recently. There's another Liberty. That one's from Sobe. And this is Sevenberry from Sobe. I used some of that this morning in the needle book. So there's my precious fabrics at the moment. I'm not using minerals. Like I said, I don't have a lot of these sorts of fabrics. These are I sold bundles of these a while ago. These are fabrics that I was selling for the aged care facility, and I ended up deciding that I'm going to keep a bundle for myself because there's some lovely fabrics in there. These are more feed set reproduction. These I think are from Scotland. they're really pretty fabrics. More feed sack reproductions, again from Spotlight. That's a piece of, there a couple of pieces of French General. I've had a whole pack of French General I bought years ago when I was working at the store. And these little triangles keep popping up every now and then. I didn't realise what they were until recently. This is a piece of, I said it earlier, crying out loud. Look at these little bits I've hung on to. I don't think I've got any salvage here. What is it called? It's Petite Pan. So that's another one of my precious ones. That could go in that neon needle book too, couldn't it? These are more reproduction feed sacks from Spotlight. Quite like some of them. This is from, I don't think they might be from Spotlight too, but look, aren't they sweet? I really like them. I've actually used a couple of these. I've cut around them and put them as little logos in needle books. Here's another Petite Pan. I'm sure these are Petite Pan. I'm questioning myself now. Is it Petite Pan or Petty Pan? That's another one. They don't have, there's nothing on the selvage. Gee, this bit's a bit screwed up. Yes, Petite Pan, Petty Pan. How's that pronounced? See? Petite or Petty? Petite Pan. So they came from So Be, those Petite Pans. They're the first ones and the only ones I've bought, but I'm in love with them. I'd like to get more of those. I need to press this. This piece is so screwed up. I think this is it Momsen? No, this is another Petite Pan. I think. Yeah, another Petite Pan. I love this fabric. I've used quite a bit of this. Petite Pan. This is a vintage fabric that I came across that I quite liked. These are bits my mother gave me that I hated when she first bought them, but they're sort of growing on me now. She used to get these quilting packs sent to her regularly. They're just like cheapy. I mean, they weren't cheap. I paid a lot of money for them, but they're cheapy fabrics. They feel like they've got polyester in them. I don't think they do. They're supposed to be 100% cotton. And she used to get I can't remember who it was through. It was maybe through something like, I can't remember. You know, you used to get those home shopping magazines. My grandmother was dreadful for them. I can't remember what they were called, but I think they may have come from something like that, those fabrics Mum used to get. And she'd pay an exorbitant amount of money every year for this subscription, like hundreds of dollars. And she'd get sent, like, she got a whole quilting cabinet sent to her. Like, it was a bit like a sewing cabinet. Don't think you could drop your sewing machine in it though. And it was melamine and the wings folded out and there was all this storage underneath it for your quilting, and it probably wasn't a bad thing, but they were all cheap. It was all cheap and nasty, crappy stuff. But you'd get every month, I think she'd get, they'd send a package. And yeah, the quilting table was one of the first things. She got quilting mats. There was fabric. She'd get fabric. She used to get boxes and boxes of cottons. I've got some here because she doesn't use them anymore either. Boxes of cottons and scissors. She got scissors one time, different scissors, like dressmaker's scissors and embroidery scissors, and yeah, they used to send out all the time. But it was, like I said, she paid exorbitant amounts for it, and it was crap. A lot of it was just crap. Although in saying that, the cottons now don't seem too bad. The ones that she's given me, but it might have been because I was working in a quilt store at the time, and the quality of the fabrics and the cottons. Like we used to use Resant and Gutermann for everything. when we did all the edge-to-edge quilting, the machine quilting, we used Result. So when she got these ones in this mail order stuff, they just felt like horrible, crappy stuff. But anyway, I think I've shown you a large portion of my collection again today, and I really should be inside doing more organising. I've actually got an inspection coming up, and that's why I've had to step back from selling the linens. If you're still interested, if you want to go to my Instagram page, there's only one thing posted at the moment, but what I thought I'd do is, if you read the pinned post, it basically says, as I come across stuff, as I'm tidying up, I'll list it, put it all, set it all aside in a box, but I won't be doing the tally or mailing until at least the end of February, because I've got too much to organise and set up and work out as I'm going, if that makes sense. So yeah, there will be stuff posted from time to time. It'll just be random stuff I'll stick up as I'm trying to get rid of things as I'm going along. As I mentioned either earlier in this video or the last video that hasn't been posted yet, I think I've got so many vintage fabrics and I've just got bits and bits and bits that I need to get rid of. So I'm thinking I might just do up some big packs, because selling them separately hasn't been as efficient as I need it to be to get more stuff moving out. So that's what I'm thinking I might do. And I think for now that's probably it, guys. Oh, I'm thinking about doing packs of woolen blanketing as well, because I've got a lot of wool blanketing. A lot of it's in pieces. A lot of it has holes in it, and it's just too good to throw out. So I've actually got, I can see 3 blankets beside me that are no good at all. They've been used as dog blankets. They've matted. They've been sitting out. They've been used. I used to pull out, when it hails, I usually pull out a woolen blanket to cover the car with. I don't have to now because it's in a carport. But a lot of these blankets, if I've got family or guests over and it starts to hail, I just throw a woolen blanket over the car and you don't get hail damage. I've been doing that for years. So yeah, they're going to have to go in the bin or be recycled or something somehow. I don't even think they're any good for dog blankets. Well, maybe if I wash them, I could take them to the RSPCA, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I think I'll do some blanketing packages, and if you're not aware, I do soak, wash and sanitize all my textiles before I list them. Oh, hello Christy, I'm just winding up now. Okay. I've been through so much today. This is my second video, Christy. It dropped out. I think the first one was over an hour and a half, and I went through the needle books I've been working on. Oh, that's all right. It was very spur of the moment. It wasn't planned. I'm supposed to be organising inside because I've got an inspection coming up that I've already rescheduled because I'm just exhausted. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I didn't think of that. Yeah, went through my needle books, went through the last video's got the needle books I've been working on. It's got some of my vintage handkerchief collection I started to share, but there's too many to go through them all. What else did I do? Went through some of my precious little textiles and things. This video is mainly precious fabric, precious textiles that I've been saving. I think that's about it. There is something else I've pulled out that I was going to share. I did get hold, I know I've shared this before, but I'm going to start from the beginning. I did get my hands on a Flowwoods book. And initially I said in one of my videos that I was a bit disappointed with it. And the reason I was disappointed at the time was because I expected it to have tutorials in it. I thought for some reason that even though I read the reviews and I read everything about it before I bought it, I expected there to be tutorials, and there's not really. And I was really disappointed with that. But then I watched a video, someone was using it. Who was it? Kate in the Nest was using it as inspiration for different projects she was doing it. And when Kate showed how she was using it, it's given me a whole new appreciation and outlook. Like, I'd look at it completely differently now. So pretty much, I'll probably explain this wrong. Oh yeah, absolutely. I explained earlier that I really want to be able to stitch like Kate does, and even like Beck does from So Be, like that more organic, just stitch it on, lay it down. But for some reason, my brain stops me from doing that. I really struggle to embrace the wonk and do the rusty. I love it. I love the style, but it might be because I'm traditionally trained in fine embroidery, and I think part of my brain just won't let me break out of that. I really struggle. Even the needle books I've been making, I wanted to do them really rustically, and they haven't turned out that way at all. But Kate, for those of you that don't know, Kate in the Nest, I'll have to tag her because if you haven't seen her work, it's amazing. So she was showing how she uses these as prompts for projects, and she made a whole series of, from memory, it's a while since I watched them, she made a whole series of needle books based on just these, using them as prompts. So, you know, this one, for example, she read the words ivory, linen, blush, cream, caramel, sand, mauve, lemonade, nude, pearl, and it says soft, gentle, subtle, whimsical, and light. So she used that as an inspiration and pulled textiles to, yeah, absolutely. Stitching with no thought for me is really challenging. I have found sometimes if I'm really unwell, like really sick, I can do it, but I really struggle to switch my brain off. I really do. So some of you ladies, lovely ladies, have been using a lot of books as inspiration, and I haven't bought books for years. So recently, as I've been seeing these, watching these YouTube videos, I've started collecting books again. The next one I got more recently was this one. I can't believe how much I paid for this. That was ridiculous. I had it sent from England, so I paid a stupid amount of money for it. But everyone was raving about this. More than weeks, Christy. I think it's going to take me months or years even. I've been trying. I originally joined the Ugly Art Club. I don't know if you've seen that on Instagram, with Kristin Peterson and Tiffany, Goff Smith. Tiffany's just lovely, and DeeDee Catron and Kristin Peterson. I think that was it. The three of them. They launched this during COVID, what they call the Ugly Art Club, and it was, it's amazing, beautiful stuff. It's more mixed media. They do painting, they do like paper and textile journals, and I joined that to try and learn to be more rustic. And I did for a while. I did produce quite a few things, but they mainly had papers in them and textiles. I used to make these little journals based with paper, watercolor paper, and I'd paint bits, but I'd wrap them, all the pages, in textiles and embellishments and things. But since I've stopped doing the Ugly Art Club, I'm still a member. I still have access to it. And I did start watching some more the other day. I have to be actively creating nearly every day. It's on Instagram. It's just called the Ugly Art Club. And to actually have access to the tutorials, you have to join to be a member. But if you can get on the Ugly Art Club, I'm pretty sure it's just called the Ugly Art Club on Instagram. And it was established by Kristin Peterson. I can't remember the name of her page, but if you put in Kristin Peterson on Instagram, I'm pretty sure her channel comes up. And Tiffany Goff Smith. Tiffany Goff Smith's page is Southern Gals Designs. And DeeDee Catron. I think hers is just DeeDee Catron. They're all very different styles, but their work is stunning. And they run the Ugly Art Club. They do tutorials every month, and they have guest tutors every month as well. Another one I like is Wendy Solganik. I've done some of her courses, which I really like. Wendy Solganik, and hers is Willa Wonders. And Colleen Attara, I love her work. I did a couple of tutorials with Colleen Attara. She's very rustic as well. And Colleen teaches a lot like I do, sort of just sit down and have the camera over you. Like when I used to do workshops, I used to have all my students gather around behind me, and I'd actually do the work in front of them and say, this is what I'm thinking, what can you take from this, go from here, sort of thing. Colleen teaches in a very similar manner. Colleen Attara and Brooke Henry, she's another great one. Brooke's lovely too. I'm sure I'll think of more, but those ones are all great to help people like me get out of my headspace and, just try and do painting and stitching without thinking too much. But I'll try and remember to list them in the description. So this is the second book I've bought recently. It's more of a magazine, some beautiful images in there. And then this one I bought at the op shop. I think I paid 20 cents for this recently. And it wasn't until I got home that I realised how awesome it is and that it's actually a Tilda. And it's from, I think it's from I'm sure there was a year here somewhere. Maybe not. I thought it had the year it was produced on it somewhere. This sort of stuff was around when I was working in the quilt shop, so it'd be close to 20 years ago. And $22 originally. I have looked it up recently, and it's worth a lot more than that now. I'm pretty sure I paid 20 cents for it. But there's quite a few things in here I'd love to make. And one of those is Kathy Holden, or Cass Holden. I'm not sure if Cassie. It must be Kathy Holden. She's another artist. I love her work, and she's recently been making these jackets out of wool felt, little miniature jackets, and embellishing them. And Nairi made one as well. Nairi Bartlam. She's done one. But when I opened this book, it's actually got a pattern for this sailing jacket in it, and I'm thinking of using that pattern to make one out of vintage wool blanketing. So that's another thing on my to-do list. And then I bought this one. Who was talking about this? Rachel and Sarah from the Roxy Sisters were talking about this next book when they were doing their volume 8, the one where they were stitching onto the textiles and all the different prompts. They spoke about this book, and I searched and searched and searched. I found a copy. It was brand new. I think I bought this from the UK as well. Sat it down and started looking through it. Absolutely adored it. Stupid me, had my cup of coffee, and my dog walked past and hit it with her wagging tail and spilt coffee all over it. So it's not in immaculate condition anymore. I rinsed it straight away, but the dust covers all coffee stains now. So I've got lovely coffee stains in here, and there's bits of coffee here and there. So, however, this is a beautiful book, and I'm so glad they recommended it. It's just up my alley, this sort of thing. So, that was the next one. Isn't it beautiful, Christy? I'd never heard of it until I saw the Roxy Sisters speak about it. So I love that one. And then one last one I bought. Actually, I told my family that Willow bought it for me for Christmas because I'm not supposed to be spending money. This one I got from Little Woolly. I want to buy one of the yarn too. Look at, they always attach something. So these beautiful little pins. And last time I bought the wool from them, there's a little hand crocheted flower attached to it. Now this is all sealed up. I have pulled it out. Now this was my Christmas present from Willow. I bought I found the first book. Oh, in Japanese. Wow. I wondered because when I read about this, it said this is the first run of the English print. So, yeah, I've got a few Chinese books, painting watercolour books inside my mother bought me when she was in China. And they're all in Chinese, and I can't read them. But they've got beautiful images, and they've sort of got step-by-step instructions so you can follow the images. So yeah, this is, I've looked at the images through this one quickly, but I haven't even been through this one yet. But so that was my Christmas present from my doggo. So there, me who's not supposed to be collecting anymore because I need to de-stash so I can move. Keep buying myself lovely little treasures that I need to try and transport interstate when I move. So that's a bit silly of me, but yeah, that's what I've been doing. I'm hopeless. I just spotted another bag I haven't looked through yet. Okay, the books. What's in this bag? Anything of importance? Here's a vintage guest hat that I was gifted recently, and all the crochet had deteriorated and just sort of fell off. So I've started to crochet a new edge on it. I've got so many things on the go, it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. I do some ridiculous things sometimes. Fair income. What else is in that bag? Oh, that's all the stuff I got from my girlfriend's shop recently. This is some of my vintage buttons. I need to store them better. There's some beautiful glass buttons in there I coveted that I only recently got. Oh, that's what I was going to show. I haven't shared. This is what else I got recently. And again, this was a gift from Willow for Christmas from Lucello. And I'm bummed that I screwed up the paper bag it came in because it was very pretty. I think I shared all this recently. But I got a pile of vintage French and Japanese fabrics from Lucello for Christmas. And these, I think I went through these in 2 videos ago. These beautiful little bits I'm thinking of making little needle books with. And in the last video I shared that I have already made a needle book from one of the pieces of vintage French fabrics from here. Here it is. That stupid me decided after I'd put it all together to steam it, press it, and I scorched the bloody fabric. I'm so annoyed with myself. So this is a piece of vintage French fabric that came out of that pack from Lucello. And all I did was sort of straighten it up, trimmed it to square it off. And I made it, I folded it over, made a little pocket in here, but I made it so it looked in proportion. I cut it so it was, you know, looked in proportion. But when I added the crocheted lace, it made it all out of proportion. Yeah, well, I wondered that too, Christy, if it made it look more vintage. I was just so annoyed with myself, honestly. I can't believe I did it. You okay, baby? You okay, sweet cheeks? Willow was just making a funny puffing noise. She's been a bit unwell lately. She's got an infection in her foot that we're going to have to go back to the vet about. I think she's got a bone infection, to be honest, which means they're going to have to amputate. And it looks like it's spread to a second toe, so anyway, she's going to have to go back to the vet. But the last couple of days she's been doing this funny cough that's got me really concerned as well. I'm just hoping that it's a tickle in the throat. So anyway, I cut this, you know, folded it, didn't really cut any off, just made it square and made it look proportional. But then when I added the crocheted lace, it was out of proportion again. So I decided to add a bit of linen to make it more proportionate. And I don't know, I just did this funny flap there and did this Italian insertion stitch to try and tie it all in. I don't know what that is. You can't see that stain there. Inside, I can't see that. I don't know if that's... I hope it's a backward sneeze, Christy. I'm so concerned about it. She's only just turned 4. And I know these great big dogs don't have a long lifespan, but she's been to 3 or 4 different vets now, and every one of them says she's so healthy. You're doing such a great job with her. She looks amazing, but I'm a bit concerned about her again. Yeah, poor little chicken. I had to sedate her the other day to dress her foot because she was just so hysterical. And then she was given some pain relief, some meloxicam, and didn't agree with us. So she had explosive diarrhea. It was just horrible, the poor little chicken. So now she's just on paracetamol if she needs it. But we're going to have to go back and get this infection treated because it's just this morning I woke up and I thought, holy cow, that doesn't look good. It's not exposed, it's an internal infection and it swells up and it's just nasty. So anyway, I've stitched this tatting on here. I've been through this one in the last video, but I'll give you another quick look at this. This is, as I said, from Lucello. Stuck this. I'm thinking of pulling this off and turn it into like put a brooch pin or something on it so you can take it in and out. And that's just a vintage puff from Nairi. That one's from Nairi. A crocheted medallion from a doily. A little bit of vintage lace and another bit of vintage lace. So it looks a bit like a, what are they called? I can't remember now. My brain is dead. A doily that I've trimmed down to fit in. Lined it with some reclaimed, I think that was from a vintage doona that Sue Garrett, I bought from Sue Garrett, that she reclaimed. She must sit there and unpick all the stitching, God love her. And that's another bit of different colour from a doona duvet vintage thing. Doctor's flannel, blanket stitching around it. Now I struggle to leave empty pages. I feel like I want to add something to it. And Christy, this is another one that I wanted it to be rustic, and my brain just won't let me do it. This sandwich tray cloth had holes in it, and I decided to try and repair that, but make a bit of a feature out of it. So I've stitched some vintage linen in there. I did it inside. I should have come outside in the light and done it because I haven't matched the colour very well at all. Little hexy flower that I made a while ago. This sandwich tray cloth was just too gorgeous to waste. So I decided to, Jude might have suggested to do it this way actually. I normally fold over at the middle and then have a flap, but I think it was Jude that suggested I make it into a little pouch. So I'm going to put a press stud here. I've used some, what's her name? I can never remember her first name. Emma Newman. So I've got Emma Newman fabric here and lined it with Emma Newman fabric. It's all needle turned around the sandwich tray cloth and hand stitched down. It's all hand stitched, the whole thing. And I've even done bias binding on the inside to hold that all together neatly. Bit of vintage lace that my girlfriend gave me recently. Then I've got a bit of that lovely cocoa and pink vintage wool blanketing, blanket stitch around it, bit of vintage lace, beautiful, bloody mowing of course, beautiful needle bobbin lace doily in the centre. Again, I've got a naked page. I feel like I need to put something on, but I love that cross there. Isn't that cute? I'm spewing. I tried not to show my stitches through, but I can see out here in the daylight, I can see my stitches through the wool, and that bugs me. I try to hide them. I only just added that in yesterday. Just felt like it needed something else. I feel like I'm yelling at you over this machinery now. This is the other side of the needle book. Look at that. It's just beautiful. Stitching. Crying out loud. Then I've got another naked page here. I did this needle weaving lace. Oh, thank you. That's good. It bugs me. See, this is what my brain does, Christy. I feel like I need to hide all those stitches. I try to bury them within the fabric. Even when I do, like, you can't see because I've put lace over it now, where I stitched this bias binding on the inside to make it nice and neat, I just catch one tiny thread in the fabric, so when you've stitched it down, you can't even see it's been stitched unless I use a contrasting thread. Where are we up to? Yeah, that's true. That'll give me the rustic look. That's what I need to embrace more. Try and not worry about seeing those stitches. So this was a needle lace I tried to make. It's probably not too bad. It just, there we go. It curls out a bit. I tried to make little picots. I think I need to steam it a bit. It wants to roll in. See those little picots there? I did this while I was watching Guardians of the Galaxy one night recently. That one looks longer than the others. I did count them. I did use something to try and make them all the same size. So I just made that little, just as you go, needle lace. Decided this is one of the very first laces I ever bought when I was a teenager. I've still got a little bit of it, but I absolutely adore it. So I thought for some reason I'd just put a bit of that in. There's the back of that doily that's in the front with the reclaimed fabric from the duvet. And there's the other side of the doily. And then I haven't pressed and steamed this yet. It's still pulling a bit, but that's a little filet lace. I think I got this from Nairi. I've got a couple of these. Either Nairi or my cousin, but I think it was Nairi. If you show your stitches, you could go back and stitch throughout, stitch in a different colour thread. I can't remember the name of the stitch. Oh, okay. I think I know what you mean. So yeah, that's it. And then I've used this beautiful vintage gimp as the wrap, which nearly matches that thread I used to blanket stitch around it. I just noticed that. So that one is nearly finished. I think all I've got to do is put the press stud in on that pouch, and that one's done. So yeah, some of these fabrics from Lucello, I'm planning on making little needle books. I like that. I think I'll use that as a little needle book. What other ones did I pick? I think I was thinking of that one for a little needle book. It's almost double-sided, that one. This one, look at that. That'd be cute. Might have to trim that down a little bit. Make it a bit more proportionate, especially if I add lace to it. That's another little needle. This linen, I thought it'd be a cute one. I don't know what I'm going to do with all these bloody needle books that I'm making or planning on making. That could be another one. But that one, I look at that and I feel like that's upside down. But then if I turn it over, that's definitely upside down. This is another one I thought could make a cute little needle book. And then that'll be the back. So there's quite a few here. There's some beautiful fabrics, vintage French fabrics, some ticking. And then we've got some vintage Japanese silks as well. Look at that beautiful one, that French. Beautiful fabric. So yeah, these are all from Lucello, and I kept scrolling through them the other day and thought, I really like that. I'm going to make a needle book. And this one came together really quickly, just in a few days while I was recuperating from my episodes I've been having. I don't know if any of you are aware. I think I mentioned it in my second last video. I had some funny episodes leading up to Christmas and then over Christmas. Thought I was having a stroke. It wasn't pleasant. I thought I was having little TIAs actually. It was a sensation. The first time it happened, it lasted for a couple of weeks, but the first big major bit, I couldn't speak. I couldn't get words out. I was stuttering. I had like what I call a tic. The top half of my body kept jerking. I felt like my brain was buffering or something. It was the most bizarre feeling. And I had to, when I tried to speak, I had to try and push the words. It felt like I was pushing them from the back of my tongue to the front of my mouth, and it took so much effort. It was exhausting, and I had some paralysis down I think it was my right side. The right side of my face was sagging, and I had trouble with my strength. But then from my waist down, my legs wouldn't work, and the pain was horrendous, especially in my knees and my feet. Um, and that lasted Christmas Day. I couldn't move. I was in and out of hospital all over Christmas. I had a barrage of tests done. I'm still having tests done, but I had infection. They couldn't work out where the infection was. They still can't work it out. I had a fever, and all my tests were showing I had an infection. They wouldn't tell me what type of infection it was, but from the things I've said, from filling in the gaps, I think it might have been coming up as a staph infection. But they also told me that we have that on our skin all the time, so potentially it could have just been a transfer, but it kept showing up on my blood cultures, and they did about 8 cultures, and every one it was showing up. But they still couldn't find it, and they kept saying to me, if that's what you had, you'd be much more unwell. They just kept saying, you all right? How do you feel? What's going on? In myself, I felt great at the time, but I had these things happening. The speech and the paralysis and it was bizarre. So that went on it started about a week. The Sunday before Christmas it started. What was Christmas? The Wednesday? So the Sunday before Christmas it started. And it went the Sunday was one of the worst days, and then Christmas Day was really bad. And then it lasted for about 2.5 weeks. It was horrendous. They still don't know what it was, but I have seen my GP, and he's read all the results. He kept asking me how I felt, what my symptoms were. He actually thinks it's hemiplegic migraine. So he told me it's stress induced mainly, usually. It can be familial as well, so genetic in the family. I don't know anyone else in my family that has it. Thank you so much, Kristy, for joining me. I really appreciate you being here. I appreciate all of you. But thank you for interacting. I might see you again in one soon. I'm very inconsistent lately. I apologise. I've just got so much going on. Hooray, Kristy. Thank you so much again for joining me. Yeah, so I have noticed since that first big episode stopped, I've been having little episodes on and off, and it's mainly this time just trouble with the speech. And, I know the words in my head, I know the words I need, but they just don't come. And then I have the stutter and the trying to force the words out and the tick again. And when I stop and when I realize it's happening, I stop, calm myself down, and realize that I'm getting myself stressed. So it's looking more and more like it's migraine, hemiplegic migraine. But anyway, it's just really set me back, guys. That's why I haven't been doing as many videos and as many linen drops. So thank you so much again for joining me, all of you. I love having you. That so many of you sit and listen to me ramble on like I do. But I appreciate it very much. I hope that you've enjoyed seeing my treasures, and I hope maybe that you may have learnt something that you didn't know before. I didn't really show anything or teach anything today. I apologise, but oh my gosh, this little fly just landed on my phone stand, and it is iridescent green. It is insane. Its body, not its wings. I've never seen anything like it before. That's insane. I don't know if I can get a photo of it because oh my goodness, it's like a little hoverfly, maybe. It's sort of same shape and size as a hoverfly, but it's trying to get into the little holes on my phone stand. So maybe it's insane. Anyway, I'll try and get a photo of it after I finish filming. Thank you again. As always, if you'd like me to show anything again, teach anything, show you how I do anything, any of my techniques, a lot of the things I do are very untraditional. Even though I am classically trained in fine embroidery, I studied fine embroidery for 15 years maybe, and then I taught it at U3A and the WEA and a private studio for years as well, about 6 or 7 years I taught. I'm also, in saying that, I also do a lot of things that I've self-taught, so I don't do everything traditionally, if that makes sense. So, especially when I put needle books together, I do them in a very weird way. I might have to try and show one from start to finish one day, or a series of them. Problem is, the reason I haven't is because I'm a bit like Beck. I noticed Beck does it, and I think the Roxy sisters do it. You know, you'll start it, lay it out, show how you start it, and then you go away and stitch it when you've got some downtime or a bit of time in between this and that. So when you come back to show more, you've already done more steps. So it's a bit hard. I think that's why I started that tiny little blue one a while ago before Christmas. I was going to try and do a tiny one to show the steps I make. And the other reason is when I construct my needle books, they sort of morph as I go. So this one, for example, as I said earlier, I'd originally cut the fabric proportionately to make this needle book, but then after I'd started putting it together, I decided later to add the crocheted edge, and I threw out the proportion. It was too long. It didn't sit well with me. So then I've come back later and added this bit of linen and then attached it with an insertion stitch. So I do a lot of things backwards. Even when I do my seams and my folds, I'll stitch it all down and go, oh, I might add a bit more to that. So I come back and add bits of linen later, or bits of lace later, or buyer's tape to neaten it all up. Like I do a lot of things backwards because I don't necessarily, like I do pre-planning, but as I go along, I think, oh, I wonder if I could do this there, or I might change that and do that. So it's really hard for me to sit down and do a tutorial from go to woe. Maybe I should try and do some and let you see my process. Maybe we could do that, which is really, really weird sometimes. But anyway, I'm going to have to go, guys. Thank you so much for joining me again. As I was saying, if there's anything you'd like to know, if you'd like me to repeat anything, if you'd like me to show anything again, if there's any of my techniques or anything you'd like me to show and teach, just let me know in the comments. I will upload this video later, and I will upload the one I did earlier today that dropped out. So you can go back and watch those later. It will take quite a while to upload because I've recently gotten rid of my home internet, so I'm just running off my phone internet, and it takes so much longer to upload anything. And so it will take a few days, 2 or 3 days to upload these videos, I'd say. But anyway, I got to go. I do this every time. I ramble on and on and on to sign off. Thank you so much for joining me. Be safe and happy stitching. And yeah, I do have a couple of Instagram pages if you want to look at what I'm working on. My main working page has been a bit inactive lately because I've been focusing on my destash page. I need to destash a lot of these things. So I've got Gladys and Maud Unearthed is my destash page, and I've got Gladys and Maud, which is my creative page, and I've got Willow the Great Dane, which I share my Great Dane and her adventures, and I've got about another 7 or 8 Instagram pages as well, but they're inactive at the moment. So there you go. They've all got different purposes. I've got Gladys and Maud Grows, all different ones. Anyway, that's it. I'm going, guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you again soon.